Hi everyone, I'm so blessed. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be continuing our beginner's guide to container gardening, and this is episode 5. If you haven't watched the first 4 episodes, you can go to my channel and click on the playlist that's called Beginner's Guide to Container Garden. You'll see that there are 4 episodes already posted there for you. In this episode, episode 5, we're going to be discussing planting and transplanting techniques. This is the first step to container gardening, and I want you to get this step right because it's very important. Whether you're planting seeds or you're transplanting seedlings that you purchase from a nursery or a big box store, it doesn't matter. The process is simple, but you got to get it right. When you're planting seeds, there's a few things that you need, okay? So you need a container, of course, to plant it in. I purchased this from online, but you can pick up small containers with drainage holes from your big box stores, or you can order them online, and sometimes you can find them in a Dollar Tree or any other dollar store. You need a quality soil mix. Potting mix is preferred. You're gonna need a little bit of water. I recommend you get a spray bottle, and of course you're gonna need some seeds, and you're gonna need some, if I can pick it up here, you're gonna need some labels, and get yourself a label marker. Try to get a quality label marker, because you don't want to take the time to label your plants and then find that it smudges off. So try to get, this will save you some headaches. You won't be guessing, what is this plant later on? So try to get a quality marker, guys. Invest in a quality marker. They last a while anyway. Okay, so we've got our container, we got our potting mix, we've got some water here, we've got our marker and our label, and then most importantly, we got our seeds. So where do we start? We start by filling up the container that we're gonna grow our seeds in. And I usually will do a whole tray at a time, but this is just for demonstration purposes. Fill the vessel up at least 3/4 of the way. 3/4 of the way with your quality potting mix. And then we're gonna take the seed pack, and I want you, another thing about your seed packs, guys, I want you to make sure that you look at the expiration date. Various companies put it in various locations, but when you're purchasing your seeds, check that expiration date. Make sure you're not buying expired seeds. If you do buy expired seeds, you have probably about, I would say, a 50-50 chance, from what a nursery told me. You have about a 50-50 chance of it germinating or not germinating. But check the expiration date, and make sure you read the instructions that are provided for you on your seed pack. So we're just gonna take, this is one of my favorites, Swiss chard, and I just picked these up from the Dollar Tree, but Ace's Hardware also has these, and these are now 4 for $1. But you can buy more expensive seeds from your seed and feed store. You can buy seeds from your big box stores. You can order them online, and there are a lot of different companies that have catalogs online that you can order from as well. I typically will plant at least 2, you can't see that, there you go. I will plant at least 2 seeds in each spot. That gives me a higher probability that at least one of them, I'm hoping at least one of them, will germinate and create a seedling for me. So I just place it on top, gently on top of the soil. And you can use these little tools. You can buy them online. Mine came with my tray kit, but most of the time I get my hands dirty, guys. I just go in there and top it off like that. We're just gonna top it off. And we're lightly patting it down lightly. We just want that seed placed in there. It makes contact with the soil. It's not compacted. We don't want to compact the soil because remember that seed's got to germinate and come up through that soil. So just gently place that potting soil on top of there. And then what we're going to do is we can get rid of this for now. This is just water. And there's no fertilizer or anything like that, just plain water, because seeds, by the grace of God, already has what it needs inside it to nurture itself and to germinate. So we're just gonna spray, we just lightly spray the top of it, because if you didn't notice, you may not have noticed, I didn't mention it, but the soil that I have here is already moist. You want to moisten your soil before you get started, because you don't have to try to put too much water in here while you're planting it. And you don't want this dripping with water either. You just want it moist, just moist soil. And we are lightly spraying it on the top. And you're gonna do this every day. You're gonna do this every day. You're gonna make sure that soil stays moist. And remember, don't compact it. Just lightly tap it in. Next, what we're going to do, and a lot of gardeners do forget the importance of this, and then they struggle afterwards trying to figure out, what did I plant? We always think we're going to remember. We don't, because we're always planting. So I'm going to label this. And remember, your writing does not have to be pretty. You just have to be able to read it. I like to put the date that I planted. And I put the date because I'm always checking it, and I want to set my expectations based on the instructions on the packet of when I think this is going to germinate. We always think we're going to remember. We don't. Okay, so label your plants. All you have to do is stick it right in there like that, and you don't have to remember. And this is not going to hurt the roots of your plant. Your roots will grow around this. And you'll be able to take this out once your plant has germinated and it has grown into a seedling and you're ready to transplant it. You will be able to remove it and place it in the next container that you're going to transplant it into. And then the label just stays with the plant. They're married, okay? We married them. They're gonna stay together. Over the course of time, you may find that you have several open packs. It's important to store these properly so that you'll be able to use them again if you don't use the entire pack. I purchased this from Hobby Lobby. You can also get these containers from Michael's. Or you can order them online as well. That's just where I happen to find them. But inside this container, I have these sleeves. So what I do is, first off, you can reseal this with some packaging tape or glue stick, whatever you're gonna use. Put them inside the sleeve. which closes up quite well. And then I just kind of put them back into my container, and if I'm not going to use it again anytime soon, that's what I'll do. But most of the time, let me take that one out because I didn't seal it up. And I don't want to forget, because we always think we're going to remember. We don't. Okay, so what I typically will do is, if I know I'm going to plant more than one round of this in that season or the next, I typically, you can see how I typically will get these little Ziploc bags. The freezer bags are supposed to be a little bit more, you know, secure. But I use the freezer bags, and I just label when I plant it. Like these seeds I planted for the spring round 2. And another reason why I would do that, I would seal this up. Make sure you glue stick or some tape, but just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to put this in here. And while I'm growing, if I need a quick reference, I have all the plants that I grew for that season in this little handy bag here that I can quickly grab. And usually on the back of the packages is all your instructions. This not only has the plant, you know, the recommendations for planting depth, seed spacing, days to germinate is what we're looking at now. How long is it going to take me to get this plant germinated so that I can transplant it? And then also it has on here days of maturity. So when can I expect to harvest? That's the days to maturity. So if I want a quick reference, remember I wrote the date when I planted it. I wrote what it was. I can quickly go grab that seed packet from my little handy dandy bag and make a quick reference. Then at the end of this growing season, if I do not plan to use these seeds, I will put them in the different envelopes and store them back in this container. So again, let me take that out of here because I need to seal this up. And so every day I'm just going to come back and give it a good spritz. If I'm growing my seeds in the fall or the winter, I typically will start them indoors. And I have a grow shelf that I use to place mine on, but you can put them in your windowsill, any warm space where the seed can actually have the right temperature to germinate. Or you can use grow lights, and I'll show you in a second what that looks like. We're just gonna place these right here on my grow shelf, and I'm gonna show you that. Okay, so my grow shelf is right in front of a light. With the temperatures being as warm as they are in the summertime, this will grow just fine, just like that. If the temperatures are colder, I tend to use a dome to help encourage the germination. This dome comes with a light source as well, and that warmth from the lights will help it to germinate as well. See, the seedlings are reaching up for that, will reach up for that light. So having it directly on there encourages it to germinate. You don't have to buy this kit. All of this came together. This tray, the dome, and the light source. You can buy those online. Not too expensive. But yeah, this is a nice little setup because everything is there, right? I don't have to kind of piecemeal it together. One tip I'll give you just off the top as we move on into transplanting is if you do start your seeds indoors, as I just did, you want to make sure you give your seedlings acclimation to your outdoor weather. You don't want to put them in shock. This is a process we call hardening off. So make sure you take the seedling outdoors for short periods of time in the morning hours or in the evening hours, never during the middle of the day when the sun is at its brightest, because you don't want to put your plant into shock. Take it inside after a couple of hours and back out again the next day. What I have here is just a couple of options for transplanting. Once your plant has its true leaves like this, and your homework for today is to go find out what does it true leaves mean. Once they have true leaves, you can transplant them into a larger pot. One of the things I would recommend about transplanting from the seed that you have germinated to another pot is to make sure that the pot that you're going to put it in is at least 2 times the size of where it is. Okay, so we have here, these are just some biodegradable pots, but you don't have to buy these. That's a choice. And you can buy these. Both of these can be purchased at your dollar store. You can order these online. You can even use a container that you have around your house. Let me show you an example of that. This is an old food container that I had some sour cream in. This is one of the things I use to keep my coffee grounds in. And this is for enriching some soil that I'll use later. But any container that's at least twice the size of where your current seedling is will work. Just make sure that you put some drainage holes in the bottom. And we talked about drainage holes in a previous episode, so I won't go over that again. But before you transplant, I want you to make sure that we're just pretending that this is the seedling that we just germinated and grew, right, over time. And you want to make sure that you have moistened it before you start to transplant it. Remember, we're not drowning it, we're just moistening the soil. That will help the roots structure to stay in place or together. Okay, so now I'm going to use this one. So just go ahead, I'm going to clear some of this out of the way real quick. And now we're going to just transplant it. And like I said, you can buy these fancy tubes, you can buy these little fancy trays, or you can simulate. Whatever you have around your house will work just fine as long as it has drainage holes here. You have something that can scoop it out. You can use, I have used plastic forks and spoons. I'm telling you, you can use this or you can use that. Okay, I'm gonna pot or transplant into this container. I've already got some soil or potting soil in here. And I'm just gonna kind of make a little way for it. We're gonna top it off with some more soil if we need to. But I'm gonna go on the sides. I just will kind of do like that. Just kind of, like if you're getting lasagna out the pan, you know how you just kind of manipulate the size a little bit? Or you got a cake that look like it might stick and you want to take a little utensil and just kind of do like that. And then we're just going to get it out of there. There we go. And you see how you probably can see the roots, and most of it comes out together. We just place it in a little, we just made a little dip in the soil there. It's in there, you see? We want to make sure the roots are not exposed, so we're going to top it off. Be gentle with your little seedling. And just around it, we're going to top it off with soil. You see that? And just gently pat around it. And we got it in there. See that? When you're ready to transplant your larger plants, just make sure that they have the proper support. Like tomatoes, they need cages. So put the cages in it at the time that you do the transplant, because you don't want to disturb the roots later. So the larger plants will need some type of support, whether you use cages or you use some type of stakes made of metal or wood or tree limbs, whatever you're using. Okay guys, so that's it for this episode on planting and transplanting techniques. I told you in the beginning, it's very simple, but it's very important. In the next episode, we're going to be talking about watering tips that you can use to keep your container plants healthy and thriving. Make sure that you subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss the next episode. Leave your comments and questions in the section below, and make sure to let me know what plants you're growing this season. Thanks for watching and happy gardening. I'm gonna see you in the next episode.